But in light of the tragedy yesterday in Newtown, Connecticut, I would comment on one of the legal issues it raised. Obviously, there is a much larger concern than the legal issues when 26 people die for no apparent reason. But the media coverage of the event did raise a specific issue that relates to something we've discussed a lot during this particular term, and that is social media and how it relates to uh, legal issues. Because the shooter was initially identified as Ryan Lanza, based on the ID he had with him, which it turned out the shooter was not Ryan Lanza, it was Adam Lanza, his younger brother. Adam was carrying Ryan's identification with him at the time, apparently. Um, so the uh, the investigators initially thought it was Ryan Lanza, and somebody on the investigation team leaked that to the media uh, by early yesterday afternoon. And that then became the name of the shooter, Ryan Lanza, in everyone's mind. Of course, as soon as the media got a hold of it, they started searching all of the social media sites for someone with that name, and they found Adam Lanza's public Facebook profile. They pulled information from that in newscasts. I believe some sources actually showed images of it on screen. And Ryan Lanza was at work. He had no idea what had happened. He was unaware that his brother Adam was the shooter. He was unaware of what Adam had done. And suddenly he was getting messages and texts from very, very concerned friends who were going, "What's going on? I know you're at work right now. I know you aren't in New York. Aren't in Connecticut, rather. You're in New Jersey. Why why are they saying these things on the television?" Um, so that was how he found out, basically, was terrified people texting him because they didn't understand what was going on. And then he started to get messages on his Facebook profile, phone calls, etc., from people who were actually making death threats against him because they thought he was the shooter. And he is now in police custody. He's cooperating with the police. He's giving them as much information he can about his brother and why his brother might have done this. But this does raise an issue in terms of tort law as to whether the stations, the television stations and the websites that posted his name and his personal information as the shooter committed some sort of libel or slander, because they were acting on anonymous tips, basically. They promulgated this information and it resulted in his safety being compromised. And they did this all incorrectly. So I just wanted to point out the potential legal issue there. As I said, this is obviously a smaller issue than the loss of life involved, but it is an issue that is going to have to be dealt with in the coming days.